Hi everybody. Today we'll be reading about Enid Burton, The Ragamuffin Mystery. I'm going to read that page over and over again. The Ragamuffin Mystery. Roger, Barney, and Looney went quickly to the big rock and hid behind it. The men's voices came very near, but mercifully the men didn't spot the boys in their hiding place, and gradually the sounds faded away. "It's all right now, we can go," said Barney. The boys hurried down the hole, slithering over the very steep parts. They came at last to the cave and stood on a ridge of rock. The moon was shining, and what a shock the boys had! The moon now shone on heaving water that was already as high as the ridge they stood on. "The tide's come into the cave, right in, and it's still coming," said Barney in horror. "We're trapped!" Enid Burton, The Ragamuffin Mystery. Chapter 1. Off in the Caravan. "This is going to be just about the most exciting holiday we've ever had," said Roger, carrying a suitcase and bag down to the front door. "Diana, bring that pile of books, will ya, before we forget them." Oh, Diana picked them up and ran down the stairs after Roger. At the front door stood a caravan. Diana stood and gloated over it for the 20th time. "Fancy Dad buying a caravan," she said. "And oh, what a pity he can't come with us after all." "Yes, after all our plans," said Roger. "Still, it's a jolly good thing Mummy didn't back out when she heard Dad had to go off to America. I was awfully afraid she would. My heart went into my boots, I can tell you." "Same here," said Diana, stacking the books neatly on a shelf in the caravan. Have we got our bird book? We'll see plenty of birds on our travels, and that's my holiday task, writing an essay on birds I have seen." "Well, don't forget to take the field glasses then," said Roger. "They're hanging in the hall. I say, what did you think about Mummy asking Miss Pepper to come with us, now that Daddy can't manage?" Miss Pepper was an old friend of their mother's. The children were fond of her, but Roger felt rather doubtful about having her on a caravan holiday with them. "You see, she's all right in a house," he said to Diana, "but a small caravan with hardly any room, won't she get fussed? We shall be so much on top of one another. Oh well, Mummy must have someone to take turns at driving the car that pulls the caravan," said Diana. "And she'll be company for Mummy too. She's quite good fun, if only she won't keep making us be tidy and wash our hands and knees a dozen times a day and—" "What are you two gossiping about?" said their mother, hurrying out to the caravan with some more things. If we're going to start off at 11, we'd better hurry. We've got to pick Miss Pepper up at 2 o'clock, you know, and that means going over 30 miles an hour if we don't start punctually. Too fast for a car with a caravan." "I wish Daddy was coming," groaned Diana, helping her mother to pack in more luggage. "Miss Pepper's all right, but Daddy's such fun on a holiday." "Yes, it's a pity," said her mother, "but at least we haven't got to put up with Snubby this time." "Gosh, yes! Snubby with us in a small caravan, and Looney too, would be just about the limit," said Roger. "Who's he staying with these holes?" Snubby was their cousin, a ginger-haired, freckled, snub-nosed 12-year-old boy. He had no father or mother, and so spent his holiday with one or other of his uncles. He had no mother. He had no father or mother, and so spent his holiday with one or other of his aunts and uncles. Snubby by himself was bad enough, but um, but with quite, but with his quite mad dog Looney, a beautiful black spaniel, a beautiful black spaniel, he was enough to drive even the most patient aunt and uncle out of their minds. "He's staying with Auntie Pat, I think," said Diana. "Isn't he, Mummy? I bet he's driving her crazy. Last time he stayed with her, Looney got a passion for goloshes, and he took every single one from the hall cupboard and hid them in the rhododendron bushes. And the gardener couldn't believe his eyes when he saw them, and he called Snubby, and Snubby asked him why he had sown golish seed under the rhododendrons," said Roger, with a sudden snort of laughter. "Good old Snubby. He is a pest, but honestly you can't help laughing at him half the time," said Diana. "I bet he wishes he was coming on this caravan holiday with us." "Well, thank goodness he's not," said their mother. "Pack those rugs in the corner, Diana. I really think that's about all. Now I'll go in and see that we've got absolutely everything. And if we have, we'd better start." She hurried indoors. Diana looked round the neat little caravan, wondering how long it would be before it was anything but neat. She and her mother and Miss Pepper were to sleep in it all night, and Roger was to sleep in the back of the car. What fun to travel round the countryside, going where they liked, not knowing what county they would sleep in at night, waking up when they liked. Yes, this is yes, this was going to be something like a holiday. "There's just one thing I do wish," said Diana to Roger as they went indoors to say goodbye to their cook and daily woman. "I wish and wish that old Barney was coming with us." "Gosh, so do I," said Roger. "And Miranda, his monkey, too. Dear little Miranda. And Miranda, his monkey, too. Dear little Miranda. We haven't seen her for ages." "Well, Barney's been traveling about with his father," said Diana. "I wonder if he often thinks how he traveled about before, when he was a child and didn't know who his father was, and went about with the people of circuses and fairs. He did plenty of traveling then, and now he's found his father and a real family of his own, and he's no longer a poor circus boy all alone in the world," said Roger. "And Miranda isn't a lonely little monkey, but going everywhere with him, often hungry and cold, but a spoiled little pet, loved by every single one of Barney's family, and thank goodness Barney hasn't changed a bit." "No, he's still the same kind, strong Barney," said Diana. I do hope we see him these holes, Mummy. Mummy, where are you? We really ought to start, you know. "Just coming," called their mother, hurrying downstairs. "I remembered I must find the sunburn lotion in case we all get too burnt for words in this hot weather. Go and say goodbye, dears, and then we'll start." Diana and Roger said goodbye to their cheery old cook, and she pressed a bag into their hands. "Just a few special sugar biscuits to keep you going till dinner time, she said. Have a good time. And see and look after your mother. She's tired after all the packing up. At last they were in the car, and it moved slowly towards the front gate, pulling the caravan behind it. Fortunately, the gates were wide and the posts were not even scrapped. Away they went down the lane, the caravan running smoothly behind them, rocking just a little now and again when they went over a rut. Soon they were out on the main road. The holiday had begun. They stopped for a picnic lunch on the way and then drove on towards Miss Pepper's. We shall be late, said Roger, but it doesn't matter. Mummy, Miss Pepper would be most surprised if we were punctual. I dare say, but she's sure to be quite ready 10 minutes beforehand, said his mother. And I shall feel just as used to when she looked after me in my teens. Very, very guilty. Very, very guilty. Miss Pepper was waiting for them. Miss Pepper was waiting for them on her doorstep, her suitcases beside her. Oh. She looked as tall and thin as ever, but her eyes twinkled as usual behind their glasses, and she smiled warmly. Well, here you are. Well, here you all are. Bless you, she said. And wonder of wonders, not more than 15 minutes late. Had your dinner? Yes, Miss Pepper, said everyone, and Roger leapt out to take her luggage. He started away in the caravan. Well, what a fine caravan, said Miss Pepper approvingly. Well, I never thought I'd ever sleep in a caravan, and here I am, quite looking forward to it. I'll drive you on for some way, said the children's mother. Then you can take a short turn at driving if you will. We thought we'd make for that lovely little lake at Yesterly. The children can bathe then. Isn't it a mercy it's such glorious weather? It certainly is, said Miss Pepper, settling herself in the front seat. Dear me, it seems strange not to have Snubby with us. He's always come with the children when I've been with them before. He's staying with Auntie Pat, and I expect he's driving her mad, said Diana. All the same, I wish his dog Looney was with us. Darling Looney, I do love him. Said Miss Pepper. Doubtfully, I'm fond of him too, but I don't think I should be fond of him long if he went for a caravan holiday with us. He's not a very helpful dog. It was very pleasant driving along that sunny day with 3 weeks stretching before them. Lazy, lovely weeks, full of picnics, baths, ice creams, and perhaps sleeping out in the open air instead of in the caravan. Roger made up his mind to suggest it that very first night might do that. Not for his mother or Miss Pepper, just for himself and Diana. The car purred on and on like a cat. Where would they stop for the night? Nobody knew, and nobody cared. The caravan rolled on behind them, and every now and again Roger looked back to make sure it was still safely there. We're going to have fun, he said to Diana. For 3 whole weeks, nothing but fun. And we'll stop right there.